It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we have the Virgin Beers Beer Christmas Advent Calendar Day 3 to show you. Let's have a look. We've opened up, of course, 2 and 1. Where it is, number 3 is up here. What do we have? So they're all 330 milliliter cans. This beer is from hjala. They're an Estonian brewery, and this is their Orange Gose. Served between 6 and 10 degrees. This advent calendar has been sitting out in my conservatory for, well, all night really, so it's going to be no more than 10 degrees out here. It's 5.5% ABV in a 330 milliliter cans. So I quite like the idea of advent calendars. You get a new beer every single day. You don't know what you're getting. You've got to have a different kind of selection of glasses to use, or have, especially for me, not knowing what's coming, I've got to have all sorts of different glasses around. IPA glasses, lager glasses, Stout glasses. Anyway, let's get this Gose out into a glass and see what we get. Going to use this Wensleydale. I nearly used, talking about the importance of glassware. Now Goses can be quite carbonated. They can be quite highly carbonated. So I was going to use this etched glass here. Change my mind onto something that's not really that etched. There's a little bit of etch in there, but not that much. You can hear that carbonation hissing and fizzing away there. Right, so Orange Gose. We'll talk about Gose in a moment. We'll talk about the style. It comes from Germany. We'll talk more on that in a moment though. It's hazy, it's orange colour, lots of carbonation. Head is dissipated very quickly. You generally get that from a Gose. The head will dissipate very quickly, being a sour beer. Looks okay. Let's swirl this one round in the glass and get the aroma on the beer. I would say there's subtle aspects of orange in here. You're definitely picking up that salt from the Gose. Little bit of malt. Touch of orange, but like a concentrated orange juice rather than like, say, a Terry's chocolate orange flavouring, if that makes sense. This is definitely concentrated orange, I would say. Smells good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh. Yeah, that kicks like a mule. Whoa. Lovely, fantastic sour flavours coming through on this beer. Like, it's something that I always find really interesting. You can either, you've got to get the right amount of salt. You have to get the right amount of salt, because if you put too much salt in, you know when you go swimming in the sea and you accidentally get a mouthful of seawater, it's not refreshing, is it? It's not like it's like dense. Seawater's dense in it, and the thing with doing this, the thing with producing this style of beer, you have to get it right. You have to get it right. I think this is close. This is close to being. It works. It works, but just about. Just about. There's enough in the beer that makes it refreshing, but any more salt and it would be too much. It would be too much. It'd be like a mouthful of seawater. So there's a very fine balance with this beer. There's flavours of orange. It's quite citrusy and zesty, which is nice. 5.5% ABV. You pick up some of the malt. There's kind of like a layer of malt in here. What I like about sour beer is that when you taste that initial, when you get that initial sour burst on the palate, that then very quickly dissipates away. So, salt, sourness, orange. The orange stays with you a little bit, the salt stays with you a little bit, but then everything else fades away. The sourness definitely fades away. Your palate adjusts to the sourness, but then you're left with this quite lovely biscuity, kind of like grainy, wafer-like malt flavour that just runs and runs and runs and runs. And that's what I love about. That's my favourite aspect of sour beer, is that kind of, if you want to taste beer in its rawity, if you want to taste all that malt, then drink a sour beer, because you always get that kind of grain finish to the beer. So, we've talked about salt a lot. Where does the salt come from? Why is there salt in this beer? Right. A brewery a long time ago in Germany set up on the banks of the river Gose. They were using river water from the Gose River, which had, by nature, by natural thing, was it had a high salt level in the water. So they quickly discovered that by brewing with this water, they were very different in what they were doing. They were kind of like introducing a new style of beer to the market because it was naturally salty. But this naturally salty river had the right amount of salt that made the beer refreshing. And the beer style Gose was born. That sour beer style Gose was born. They still brew the beer in Germany to this day. Interestingly enough, in the late 90s and early 2000s, this beer style nearly fell away and become extinct. It was only through brewers and home brewers and craft brewers that went through the brewing logs, the different styles of beer that are out there. The craft brewers were like, hey, we can do something with this. We can do some amazing things, like brew orange Goses, and I've had pineapple Goses and all sorts of different flavoured Goses, and it works. It simply works for that level of salt. But I will reiterate, pardon me, you have to get that salt level right. You have to get, I've had Goses that are undrinkable. There's way too much salt and they're no good. But this is pretty tidy. This is pretty good. I like it enough to give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.